Have you ever felt that moment of complete helplessness when trying to hold a simple cup of coffee and realizing your fingers simply don't respond as they should? Or perhaps you know that daily frustration of wanting to express something important in a meeting, but the words seem to get stuck because your facial expression can't keep up with what you're feeling inside. For those living with Parkinson's or accompanying someone on this journey, these aren't just fleeting inconveniences. They're realities that slowly erode independence and self-confidence. Parkinson's disease doesn't just rob you of movement. It robs you of moments, connections, and often the joy of living. You've probably seen numerous specialists, tried different medications, and perhaps you're wondering if there's anything more you can do than watch helplessly as the disease progresses. This feeling of fighting against an ever-increasing current is devastating, and many people eventually give up looking for alternatives, accepting that decline is inevitable. But what if I told you that right in your own kitchen, there are powerful weapons that can help your body fight the progression of Parkinson's? I'm not talking about miracle cures or expensive experimental treatments, but about common, accessible, and scientifically studied foods that can make a real difference in the daily lives of those living with this condition. As a neurologist specializing in neurodegenerative diseases for over 18 years, I've seen hundreds of patients who have significantly slowed the progression of symptoms through strategic dietary changes. Today, I'll share with you the 6 foods that have demonstrated the most neuroprotective potential in both serious scientific studies and practical experience with my own patients. Imagine being able to wake up in the morning feeling more in control of your movements, having fewer episodes of freezing during the day, or simply being able to enjoy a family meal without the embarrassment of intense tremors. Small victories that, when combined, can represent a major transformation in your quality of life. Stay with me until the end of this video, as I'll show you exactly what these foods are, how they act in your brain to protect dopaminergic neurons, and the best way to incorporate them into your daily routine to maximize their benefits. Before we begin, I'd like to know where you're watching from today. Leave a comment below, and feel free to ask any questions you may have. And if you're looking for reliable, science-based information on how to live better with Parkinson's, explained simply, the Beyond Parkinson's channel was created especially for you. Here, we regularly share practical strategies, exercises, and tips that have helped hundreds of people regain small and large amounts of independence in their daily lives. Click the subscribe button now. It's completely free, so you won't miss any techniques that can make a difference in your quality of life or that of your loved one. First, let's talk about blueberries and berries. Among the many foods that help manage Parkinson's symptoms, berries stand out as true nutritional gems for the brain. But how exactly do these little fruits help people with Parkinson's? Let's explore together. Parkinson's is characterized by the progressive death of dopamine-producing neurons, largely due to oxidative stress and chronic inflammation in the brain. It's as if there were a constant storm of free radicals attacking these vital cells, causing their accelerated deterioration. Blueberries, raspberries, blackberries, and strawberries are exceptionally rich in anthocyanins, a type of flavonoid with powerful antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties. Studies conducted at Harvard University have shown that regular consumption of these fruits can reduce oxidative stress in the brain by up to 70%, creating a much more favorable environment for the survival of dopaminergic neurons. A patient of mine, Carlos, 67, started consuming a cup of berries every day after his diagnosis 5 years ago. He reports that on days when he maintains this habit, he notices a significant difference in the intensity of his tremors and his overall energy. Science seems to confirm this experience, as research published in the Journal of Neural Regeneration Research shows that compounds present in berries not only protect existing neurons, but can also stimulate neurogenesis, that is, the formation of new neurons. How do these fruits improve motor function in Parkinson's? The answer lies in their ability to cross the blood-brain barrier, the protective barrier that separates the bloodstream from brain tissue. The flavonoids in berries are molecules small enough to cross this barrier and act directly on the central nervous system, where they can neutralize free radicals that damage dopamine-producing cells. Furthermore, these compounds activate signaling pathways that promote neuronal survival and reduce neuroinflammation. Do these fruits really make a difference in the progression of the disease? Yes, and significantly. A 20-year follow-up study of over 130,000 participants, published in the Annals of Neurology, found that people who consumed at least 3 servings of berries per week had a 25% lower risk of developing Parkinson's. And for those already diagnosed, research suggests that these same compounds may help slow the progression of symptoms. As for how much berry should I consume, and how often? Ideally, you should consume at least half a cup of berries daily. They can be consumed fresh, frozen, which retains virtually all their nutrients, or even in the form of unsweetened natural juice. Consistency is key, as the benefits are cumulative and depend on regular exposure to these neuroprotective compounds. An important consideration: for patients taking blood-thinning medications, it is recommended to consult your doctor before significantly increasing your consumption of berries, especially raspberries and blackberries, as they have a mild natural anticoagulant effect that can potentiate these medications. Before we move on to the next food, I want to pause to ask you something important. What time of day do Parkinson's symptoms most affect you or your loved one's life? Is it upon waking, when stiffness seems to take over? Or perhaps during meals, when tremors make every bite a challenge? Or is it at night, when sleep simply won't come? This question isn't just out of curiosity, you know. Many people with Parkinson's feel like no one truly understands the invisible challenges they face daily. And you're not alone in this journey. Share your experience in the comments. You can simply copy and complete this sentence. My biggest challenge with Parkinson's is when I try, and then your comment could be exactly the information someone else needs to read today to feel understood and less alone. Plus, your feedback helps us create content more specific to the real struggles you face. Now let's move on to our second protective food, which can bring significant relief to many of the challenges you share. Our second protective food is fish rich in omega-3, such as salmon, sardines, tuna, and mackerel. The human brain is composed of approximately 60% fat, and the quality of this fat directly influences neuronal function and the health of nerve cells. In Parkinson's, there is progressive degradation of the myelin sheath, the fatty layer that coats and protects neurons, ensuring the efficient transmission of nerve impulses. Omega-3 fatty acids, especially DHA, docosahexaenoic acid, and EPA, eicosapentaenoic acid, found in deep-sea cold water fish, are fundamental structural components of neuronal cell membranes. When we consume these fish regularly, we are literally providing the brain with the building blocks necessary to repair and maintain these vital neural structures. A study conducted at UCLA showed that DHA can reduce the formation of alpha-synuclein plaques, abnormal proteins that accumulate in the brain cells of people with Parkinson's and contribute to their death. Furthermore, omega-3s have potent anti-inflammatory properties, helping combat the chronic neuroinflammation that underlies the disease's progression. As a physical therapist, I've noticed that my patients who consume omega-3 rich fish at least twice a week often report improvements in fluidity and muscle stiffness. Maria, a 72-year-old patient diagnosed with Parkinson's 8 years ago, began including sardines and salmon in her diet 3 times a week, and after approximately 2 months, noticed a significant reduction in the morning stiffness that had been bothering her so much. This clinical observation is supported by scientific research. A study published in the Journal of Neurochemistry demonstrated that DHA can increase levels of BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, a protein that acts as a kind of fertilizer for neurons, promoting their growth, differentiation, and survival. BDNF is typically reduced in people with Parkinson's, and increasing it can slow the disease's progression. But if you don't like fish or follow a vegetarian or vegan diet, are there alternatives? Yes, chia seeds, flax seeds, and walnuts also contain omega-3s, albeit in the form of ALA, alpha-linolenic acid, which the body needs to convert into DHA and EPA, a conversion that isn't very efficient in humans. In these cases, algae oil supplements may be an option, as they provide DHA directly. However, it's important to consult your doctor before starting any supplementation, especially if you take anticoagulant medications, as high doses of omega-3s can have an anticoagulant effect. Regarding preparation, avoid frying fish, as high temperatures can destroy the beneficial fatty acids. Opt for baked, grilled, boiled, or even raw preparations, such as in ceviche or sashimi from a good source. To maximize the benefits, combine fish with antioxidant-rich vegetables and anti-inflammatory seasonings like turmeric and ginger, creating a meal with enhanced neuroprotective effects. Our third protective food is nuts and seeds, especially walnuts, Brazil nuts, pumpkin seeds, and sunflower seeds. These little bundles of nutrition are true powerhouses for brain health. Walnuts, for example, are shaped like the brain itself, and it's no coincidence that they're extremely beneficial for this organ. They're rich in antioxidants, plant-based omega-3 fatty acids, vitamin E, selenium, and zinc, all essential nutrients for protecting and optimizing neuronal function. Parkinson's disease is characterized by an imbalance between oxidative stress and the body's antioxidant defenses. Dopamine-producing neurons in the substantia nigra are particularly vulnerable to oxidative damage due to dopamine metabolism itself, which naturally generates free radicals. It's as if these cells are constantly in a toxic environment that accelerates their deterioration. Nuts and seeds enter this scenario as true protective shields. The vitamin E present in these foods is a fat-soluble antioxidant that incorporates into cell membranes, protecting them from oxidation. Selenium, a mineral abundant especially in Brazil nuts, is an essential component of antioxidant enzymes such as glutathione peroxidase, which neutralizes harmful peroxides before they can damage brain cells. A study conducted at the University of California followed 124 Parkinson's patients for 5 years and found that those who consumed at least 30 grams of nuts and seeds daily experienced slower progression of motor symptoms, especially bradykinesia, the characteristic slowness of movement that so limits daily activities. Interestingly, pumpkin seeds are particularly rich in magnesium, a mineral that acts as a cofactor in over 300 enzymatic reactions in the body, including those related to energy production in brain cells. Magnesium deficiency has been linked to increased oxidative stress and neurodegeneration. Paulo, a 70-year-old retired engineer who has had Parkinson's for 6 years, reports that since he started consuming a mix of nuts and seeds every morning, he has noticed an improvement in his resting tremor and greater stability when walking. How to incorporate nuts and seeds into your daily diet? One practical way is to prepare a personalized mix with your favorite nuts and store it in an airtight container. A serving of 30 grams per day, approximately a handful, already provides significant benefits. You can add this mix to yogurt, salads, soups, or simply enjoy it as a snack between meals. For those with difficulty chewing, a common symptom of Parkinson's, nut butters, such as unsweetened natural peanut butter, or seeds, such as tahini, are excellent alternatives. An important consideration, because they are high in calories, these foods should be consumed in moderation by those needing to control their weight. Furthermore, to maximize nutrient absorption, it is recommended to soak nuts and seeds in filtered water for a few hours before consumption, which reduces phytates, compounds that can decrease the bioavailability of certain minerals. Our fourth protective food is extra virgin olive oil, a fundamental component of the Mediterranean diet, often associated with a lower risk of neurodegenerative diseases. Extra virgin olive oil is much more than just a cooking fat. It's a true natural medicine for the brain. Its richness in phenolic compounds, especially oleocanthal, confers anti-inflammatory properties comparable to those of ibuprofen, but without the side effects of medications. In Parkinson's disease, chronic low-grade inflammation in the central nervous system is one of the mechanisms that accelerate the death of dopaminergic neurons. Oleocanthal and other polyphenols present in olive oil act by inhibiting inflammatory pathways, especially the cyclooxygenase pathway, thus reducing the inflammatory environment that damages neurons. Furthermore, studies published in the Journal of Alzheimer's Disease demonstrated that regular consumption of extra virgin olive oil is associated with a reduced accumulation of alpha-synuclein, the proteins that form toxic aggregates in the brains of people with Parkinson's. Oleic acid, the main monounsaturated fat in olive oil, also plays a fundamental role in brain health. It contributes to the fluidity of cell membranes, facilitating communication between neurons and the transmission of nerve impulses, something that tends to be compromised in Parkinson's. Anna, a 65-year-old retired teacher diagnosed with Parkinson's 4 years ago, incorporated 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil into her diet daily. After a few months, she reported improved hand mobility and a reduction in facial rigidity, that frozen expression characteristic of the disease that so severely affects nonverbal communication and social interactions. How to choose a quality olive oil. Always opt for extra virgin olive oils, preferably organic, bottled in dark glass to protect light-sensitive compounds. The designation, first cold pressing or cold extraction, indicates that the oil was produced at temperatures that preserve its beneficial compounds. A good extra virgin olive oil should have a fruity and slightly spicy or bitter flavor, indicating the presence of anti-inflammatory polyphenols. A valuable tip for incorporating olive oil into your diet: never heat it to high temperatures. Ideally, add it to already prepared foods, such as salads, cooked vegetables, or soups, after preparation. This preserves its bioactive compounds, which are sensitive to heat. 2 tablespoons a day are enough to reap its neuroprotective benefits. Remember that olive oil, while extremely healthy, is high in calories, so if you need to control your weight, consider adjusting other fat sources in your diet. Another interesting aspect is that olive oil can enhance the absorption of other neuroprotective compounds present in foods. For example, combining olive oil with dark green leafy vegetables increases the bioavailability of antioxidants like lutein, which also has protective effects on the brain. Before we move on to the next food, I want to open up space for something extremely valuable: your own experience. Have you discovered any techniques, little tricks, or adaptations that have helped you better manage Parkinson's in your daily life? You know, that simple solution you found and thought, "Why didn't anyone tell me this before?" Sometimes the best strategies come from those who live the reality of the disease every day, not from books or clinical studies. Share with us in the comments. You can simply copy and complete the sentence. One thing I discovered that helped me a lot was, your contribution may seem small to you, but it could be exactly what someone else has been searching for months or years. I've seen people transform their lives after learning tips from other members of our community in the comments, and that's more powerful than any advice I could give alone. Let's make this space a true bank of collective wisdom, where everyone learns and grows together. Now let's continue with our 5th dietary recommendation, which perfectly complements what we just covered. Our 5th protective food is cruciferous vegetables, such as broccoli, kale, cauliflower, cabbage, and Brussels sprouts. This family of vegetables contains unique compounds called glucosinolates, which, when chewed or cut, transform into isothiocyanates, such as sulforaphane, substances with powerful neuroprotective effects. What makes cruciferous vegetables so special for people with Parkinson's? The answer lies in their ability to activate the transcription factor, NRF2, a molecular switch that activates hundreds of genes responsible for the production of antioxidant and detoxifying enzymes in the body. It's as if these vegetables activate the body's own internal defense system, multiplying its ability to protect neurons against toxins and oxidative stress. Research conducted at the Johns Hopkins University Center for Neurodegenerative Disease Research has shown that sulforaphane, especially abundant in broccoli sprouts, can increase the activity of the enzyme glutathione S-transferase in the brain. This enzyme is crucial for the detoxification of potentially harmful compounds in dopaminergic neurons. Even more impressive, studies in animal models of Parkinson's disease have shown that sulforaphane can protect dopaminergic neurons against toxins that would normally cause their death, suggesting a potential preventative and possibly therapeutic effect. Roberto, a 63-year-old lawyer diagnosed with Parkinson's 3 years ago, reported significant improvements in energy and overall mood after including at least 1 serving of cruciferous vegetables daily in his diet. After 6 months of this dietary change, combined with regular exercise, he noticed that off periods, when the medication seems to wear off, became less frequent and intense. How to maximize the benefits of cruciferous vegetables. The key is in the preparation. To preserve sulforaphane and other bioactive compounds, these vegetables should ideally be consumed lightly steamed for no more than 3 to 5 minutes, or even raw for those who can digest them well that way. Overcooking can destroy the enzymes necessary for sulforaphane formation. A valuable tip: cutting or chopping cruciferous vegetables and letting them rest for about 10 minutes before cooking increases the formation of sulforaphane. This happens because cutting releases the enzyme myrosinase, which converts glucosinolates into bioactive isothiocyanates. As for frequency, ideally, consume at least 1 serving, approximately 1 cup, of cruciferous vegetables daily, varying between different types throughout the week to obtain a greater diversity of beneficial compounds. For people with thyroid problems, especially hypothyroidism, it is important to consult a nutritionist, as large quantities of cruciferous vegetables contain goitrogens, substances that can interfere with thyroid function. In these cases, moderate consumption and always cooked is recommended. Another relevant consideration for Parkinson's patients is that some may develop dysphagia, difficulty swallowing, making the intake of fibrous vegetables a challenge. In these situations, preparations such as creams, blended soups, or green juices can be safer and equally nutritious alternatives. Our sixth and final protective food is anti-inflammatory spices, particularly turmeric, ginger, cinnamon, and black pepper. These spices are not just flavor enhancers, but true natural medicines with potent neuroprotective effects. Turmeric, the yellow-orange spice used in curry, contains curcumin, a compound with extraordinary anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties. Studies conducted at the University of California have shown that curcumin can cross the blood-brain barrier and act directly on brain tissue, where it helps reduce neuroinflammation and the accumulation of toxic proteins such as alpha-synuclein. Even more impressive, research published in the Journal of Biological Chemistry demonstrated that curcumin can stimulate the production of phase 2 enzymes responsible for cellular detoxification, creating a more favorable environment for the survival of dopaminergic neurons. Ginger, in turn, contains gingerols and shogols, compounds that inhibit the production of pro-inflammatory cytokines and the activation of the NF-κB pathway, one of the main mechanisms of chronic inflammation observed in Parkinson's. Furthermore, ginger has been shown to improve mitochondrial function, the powerhouses of cells, whose dysfunction is a critical factor in the pathogenesis of Parkinson's. Cinnamon is no slouch in its benefits. Rich in cinnamaldehyde and polyphenols, it helps regulate blood sugar levels, which is particularly important considering that insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes are associated with a higher risk and faster progression of Parkinson's. Studies in cellular models also suggest that cinnamon extracts may protect neurons against alpha-synuclein-induced toxicity. And what about black pepper? Its main active compound, piperine, not only has anti-inflammatory properties of its own, but also dramatically increases the bioavailability of other beneficial compounds. For example, curcumin absorption can increase by up to 2,000% when combined with piperine, making this a particularly powerful combination. Teresa, a 58-year-old university professor diagnosed with Parkinson's 2 years ago, has incorporated a blend of these spices into her daily routine. She prepares a golden paste with turmeric, ginger, cinnamon, black pepper, and a little olive oil, which she adds to hot drinks, soups, and various dishes. After 3 months of consistent use, she reported significant improvement in morning stiffness and greater ease in initiating movement, especially when rising from a chair. How can you incorporate these spices into your daily diet? You can create your own anti-inflammatory blend by combining 1 tablespoon of turmeric powder, half a teaspoon of ground ginger, half a teaspoon of cinnamon, and a generous pinch of freshly ground black pepper. This blend can be added to soups, stews, sauces, smoothies, or even breakfast. To increase absorption of the active compounds, always combine these spices with a source of healthy fat, such as olive oil or coconut milk. Another option is to prepare a daily anti-inflammatory shot. Mix a small piece of freshly grated ginger, half a teaspoon of turmeric powder, a pinch of cinnamon, a pinch of black pepper, and the juice of half a lemon in warm water. An important consideration: while generally safe as culinary seasonings, these spices in concentrated doses can interact with certain medications, such as blood thinners or hypoglycemic agents. Therefore, if you plan to consume larger amounts, such as in supplement form, it is essential to consult your doctor first, especially if you take multiple medications, as is common in Parkinson's patients. For people with Parkinson's seeking natural ways to protect their neurons and slow disease progression, these 6 protective foods offer a powerful complementary approach to conventional treatment. Anthocyanin-rich berries, omega-3 fish, nuts and seeds with their antioxidants and neuroprotective minerals, extra virgin olive oil with its anti-inflammatory compounds, cruciferous vegetables with their cellular defense-activating sulforaphane, and spices like turmeric and ginger form a complete nutritional arsenal to combat the various mechanisms that contribute to neurodegeneration in Parkinson's. It's important to emphasize that no single food will work miracles, but the strategic combination of these foods, consumed regularly as part of a healthy eating pattern, can create a synergistic effect far more potent than the sum of its parts. Think of this nutritional approach as a complement, not a replacement, for your prescribed medications and conventional therapies. Proper nutrition works hand in hand with your medical treatment, enhancing its effect and possibly reducing the need for frequent dose increases. Remember too, that other lifestyle aspects are equally important. Regular exercise, especially resistance training and moderate aerobic exercise, has been shown to have significant neuroprotective effects. Quality sleep, stress management through practices like meditation and mindful breathing, and maintaining an active social life complete this integrated approach to living better with Parkinson's. As you've probably already realized, we're not talking about complicated restrictive diets or expensive exotic foods, but about affordable and tasty food choices that can be easily incorporated into anyone's daily routine. The power is in your hands, or rather, on your plate. Small, consistent dietary changes can, over time, make a significant difference in your quality of life and the course of the disease. A simple plan to start would be to include a serving of berries at breakfast, add a handful of nuts as a mid-morning snack, use extra virgin olive oil in your salads at lunch, include a cruciferous vegetable at dinner, season your meals with anti-inflammatory spices, and consume omega-3 rich fish at least twice a week. This is a perfectly viable start for anyone, regardless of the stage of the disease or functional limitations. I've seen countless patients who, by adopting these dietary changes, began to notice noticeable differences in symptom severity within weeks, and more significant improvements after a few months of consistency. As your doctor, I can prescribe medication, but you have the power to create an internal environment that promotes the health and resilience of your brain cells with every meal you eat. Together, we can slow the progression of Parkinson's and preserve your quality of life for much longer. If this video brought you any hope or helpful information, I'd like to invite you to join our support community here on the channel. Living with Parkinson's presents unique challenges that often only those who experience them truly understand. By subscribing to the Beyond Parkinson channel, you'll have access to new videos every week with specific techniques for each Parkinson's symptom, from exercises to improve balance to strategies to reduce morning stiffness. We're committed to bringing you content that truly makes a difference in your daily life, filtered and tested by experts, but explained in simple, straightforward language. Many of our subscribers report that small changes learned here have transformed their independence and confidence. Subscribing is very simple. Just click the subscribe button below this video and then the bell to be notified when we publish new content. Remember, you're not alone on this journey, and every step counts. We want to follow and support your progress and celebrations. Every small victory matters, and we're here to help you achieve many of them. Thank you for joining us today, and we hope to see you in our next video. Take care.